Now, though, should the Premier League have a break during the African Cup of Nations?
It's celebrations for Senegal. They've won the African Cup of Nations for the first time in their history.
Africa deserves more. Obviously, our competition needs to be looked at as well. When we do that, then it will speak for itself.
And it's in from Salah, off the post. Brilliant finish on the half volley by Mo Salah.
We sent all these guys in the winter again, in the middle of a season, to a tournament in different circumstances and stuff like this, coming back to the African Cup of Nations. It's not easy to take.
Here is Yohan Wissa out to the wide right position. It's on towards Mbeumo, who cuts in left-footed from the edge of the box and drives it.
Kalidou Koulibaly lifts the trophy to the sky. They are the champions of their continent.
Yeah, that's where we're going next. There's no Dan. Dan, the birthday boy. You right, Dan? Big drinks tonight?
Man like Dan.
22 years old. Oh, can you remember when you were 22?
Yeah.
What was that 20, 25, 30 years ago?
Smashing them in.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
How mad's that? You were at Charlton smashing them in, and No Turn Down is literally making teas and coffees.
That's raw.
I'm joking, Dan.
That's raw, that, isn't it?
No, I'm joking. You're not up to coffee level yet. You're just teas. You're not trusted with hot water. I'm only joking, Dan. We love you. Happy birthday. We'll see you in the pub. Can't wait for that. When you were a player, did you want a break over Christmas? Did you need one?
No, just keep going through.
Yeah?
No, I think you keep going through, but yeah, I don't think leading up to Christmas you need a break.
Do you think fans want a break? We had one, of course, because we had the World Cup, right? Did you? I mean, it's difficult to assess whether or not we like the break because we didn't have a break because we had the World Cup, so it doesn't really work. But do you think the fans would like a break?
What, for the African Cup of Nations?
No, just a break over Christmas.
No.
Like, we'd hate a gap of football.
No, but
wouldn't we?
isn't there something quite special about when you hear the stories about families going to watch their team on Boxing Day and things like that? It's quite nice, and I don't think they want a break.
So the African Cup of Nations is on for just under a month, January the 13th to Feb the 11th. There'll be about 50 or 60 players in the Premier League that won't be able to stay with their club. There are massive big games, certainly for the last four that make it to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, so players won't be able to play in that. Newcastle and Man City, this is interesting, they're the only two clubs in the Premier League that won't be losing players. Liverpool, for argument's sake, will have no Mohamed Salah. They play Arsenal, Chelsea in that time. Man United, of course, will lose their goalkeeper, Onana, Amrabat as well. They've got Spurs and West Ham over that period. Spurs lose Bissouma and Sarr, so two of their three key players in midfield. The list goes on and on and on. Is there you lose Thomas Partey as well to Ghana? Is there a call, do you think, for us to stop or not?
I think so. I mean, listen, first and foremost, if ever there was a tournament that gets so much disrespect as the African Cup of Nations, and I think it's disgusting, because you hear when some of certainly the press over in this country asking the African players, what are you going to do? Are you going to go and represent your country, or are you going to stay here and play for your club, whether it be Liverpool? What kind of question is that? Because we wouldn't be asking the English players the same thing, do you know what I mean, if it was different circumstances.
Why do you think that question is asked?
Because they show a complete lack of respect for that tournament. Like, even if you watch the coverage, if you watch any other the last African Cup of Nations was embarrassing. Like, pretty much the programme would start and they'd go straight into the game. There'd be no kind of analysis before the game about what players to watch for. It's totally disrespected, and even asking the players that kind of question, I think it's wrong. So I think there should be a break. The only problem is with the break is that if you've got the African Cup of Nations, and then what happens at the end of the season is there going to be an international tournament at the end of that season? Where do you fit the games in? That's going to be the problem. But that's how you stop this problem happening. The likes of Mohamed Salah not going, Mbeumo for Brentford, Cornet and etc. Jordan Ayew, these players are leaving, is that you put a little break in the calendar. But the fact that they just continue it again shows it, because we wouldn't do that with the Euro.
No.
The World Cup, there was no way the World Cup was going to continue, and do you know what I mean? I know it's the World Cup, but I just think that it's so disrespected that tournament. That's why people ask the question.
What teams do you think could be in trouble? West Ham lose 5 players.
Well, we got them 5.
2 of the 3 forward line for Brentford also go. I mentioned Mohamed Salah. Spurs midfield basically gone.
Exactly. So West Ham will be struggling, as you said there. Brian Mbeumo started the season incredibly well. Your goalkeeper.
Oh no, that's massive.
Massive. But that's why I'm saying there should be a pause potentially. But the fact that, as I said, people don't, not so much people, but certainly the press, the media, they just don't give it the respect it deserves, and it's quite upsetting when you watch it.
Yeah. Should we take some calls in at 03717223344? Just quickly, actually, another question's popped into my head. Do you think that because of the fact that you get this scenario, that clubs sometimes, when they're buying players, will maybe think twice about spending copious amounts of money on important players. Obviously, that's not the case here so far.
No, but it depends on the level of player. I think if you've got an opportunity to sign someone like a Mohamed Salah, who's obviously at top level, Thomas Partey top level, Basuma,
that's just part of it, right?
You're going to do it.
Go.
But if they're a certain player that's maybe a little bit of a level down, you might just go, do you know what? Because every club has a list, right, of targets, A, B, C, D, E. Mm-hmm. If you don't get A, you just move it down, right? If you've got a player on there that's maybe of a lesser standard, but you could be losing them for a period of time, a club might just go, do you know what? We'll opt for the next one down.
If there's two on that list and one will be caught up in it and one won't.
They might just, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying they will, but they might.
Let's ask you, the football fan, 03717223344. Dan's a Leeds fan. Hi, Dan, how are you?
Hiya, mate. You all right? Evening.
I'm great. Evening? Is it evening? Yeah, I suppose it is evening, yeah. What's your view on it then?
Hello, mate. It's what, sorry?
What's your view on it, Dan?
To be honest, I mean, you're on about Mo Salah and that, and other teams will lose players during the time. I mean, I can't remember in the past that we've stopped playing football and had a break because of it. I mean, like, years ago, and probably we're talking a few years ago now, Phil Masinga and that, they went to the Africa Cup of Nations. We never stopped the football. We never stopped playing. I understand where Bent is coming from, where, you know, players want to go and that. But, like, for instance, throughout this international break, I know it might be different where you look at it, but a lot of players have stayed back and said that, you know, because it's like start of the season, I want to help the club out, blah blah blah, and you know, I'm not going to go on internationals. You know what I mean?
Who said that?
Like, I mean, it might. It's what? Sorry.
Who said that? Who didn't go on to play for their club over this last week? To play for their country, rather.
Like, Nonto didn't go to Italy, and I can't remember who it was.
Okay.
But a few ones in the paper that didn't go, and they didn't play for the country to one. I mean, when it comes down to players going to play for the country, it depends really. I mean, if your club's in a difficult situation, obviously, I've seen some players in the past do that, where they said, right, you know, maybe the manager turned around and asked them, you know, would it be possible if we could keep you, or we don't want to lose you through injury and things. It's one of them questions. I think, you know, obviously people have different views on it, because obviously with Mo Salah, West Ham, you said that they'll lose 5 players. I mean, it's a massive league, obviously, the Premier League, and maybe throughout that period when teams lose the players, you know, obviously Liverpool have got the backup to, you know, fill where Mo Salah's missing. Yeah, you've got 2 key games, the Arsenal and the Chelsea game.
Do you know what as well, Dan? Do you know what, Dan?
To,
do you know what as well? And Andy as well. It's one of those where the manager should even be asking the player that question.
No.
Like, it's not their right. Do you know what I mean? They've got no right to ask the player that question. You feel very
strongly about this, don't you?
Yeah, it's quite poorly that if the manager goes, listen, are you going to go and represent my country? Of course I am.
Yeah. You are right. There's no manager that would ask any European player, you're going to play in the Euros?
Yeah, exactly.
You called up, you're going to play in it?
Because you could get injured. Do you know what I mean? No, it's not.
I know the argument is to be had with the Euros at the end of the season, but our point is, if it wasn't, that question wouldn't be asked.
Wouldn't be asked at all.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.